allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Our first order of business is to take up the minutes of previous meetings. First, I have the non-public work session of August 10th, 2015. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of that meeting?
So moved. Second.
By John, second by Neil. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And then I have the work session of August 10th, 2015, the minutes from that meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And seconded.
By Bill and Armand. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have the August 10th regular meeting minutes. We have a motion on those.
I'll move that we accept those. Second.
By Armand, second by Neil. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Our announcements are that we'll meet on the following dates. Regular meeting September 14th and September 28th. Work review sessions prior to the regular meeting start at 5. And this announcement we've made a few times before, which is that Plymouth State University's move-in day will be Saturday and Sunday. I guess move-in days will be Saturday and Sunday in High Street from Main to Langdon will be closed to easterly traffic. The town offices will be closed on Monday in observance of Labor Day. All of the above meetings will be held in the town hall. Weather observations for the month of July are available in the town hall. Citizens wishing to be listed on the select board's agenda should notify the town hall before noon, the Friday before the scheduled hearing. What did I do now?
Well, just to
August, oh, yeah. And then Bill's pointed out to me, as he has before, that I've missed something, and in this case, it's the August 17th non-public work session minutes, which need to be approved if they're acceptable. So
I move that they be approved as written.
Motion by Bill, second by John. All those in favor?
Aye.
And finally, I hope, although I'll check with Bill, we have the public hearing on the ATC, the Alternative Treatment Center, which was held on August 17th, 2015 here. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of that? Did you have a question?
Well, I had an omission in the minutes that
Okay.
I wanted to mention. Should I wait until it's...
Well, let's get them, well, no, go ahead.
Okay.
What do you have for, get them right before we...
During the hearing, towards the end of the hearing, I asked Jason Sidman 3 questions. I asked him if he had a business plan, which included an exit plan, and his response was that he did not. And
Well,
I asked him about samples for police lab comparison if the police are doing an investigation. And I received negative response from Department of Health and Human Services. It was a very convoluted response. And then the third question was, I wanted to know for sure that they were going to cooperate with Katie, and they affirmed that.
all right, well, do you want,
I just wanted that included in the minutes.
well, how about, I mean, it seems, how about if,
It was in the, it was on the tape, on the disc.
well, first of all, Neil, I'm just, my own, on the business plan, I'm not sure that it's accurate to say that he said that he did not have,
He emphatically
Business
said
plan.
that he had no exit plan in the event that the proposed operation did not bring in enough revenue to sustain the
well,
operation.
do you have an amendment you want to make to the minutes? Or an addition?
I guess I would like to amend the minutes to include that I had 3 questions for Jason Sidman.
All right. can we add to the minutes that Neil asked Jason Sidman 3 questions which were answered? Is that something, do I have a motion to amend the minutes? I guess it would be from
We
you.
amend the minutes.
Is there a second to Neil's motion?
Second.
Seconded by John. And the amended minutes will include the additional sentence after the last bullet point, which says, Neil McIver asked Jason Sidman 3 questions which were answered. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, so on the minutes as amended, do we have a motion to approve them?
I move that we approve the minutes.
Okay, is there a second to Neil's
Second
motion?
that.
By Armand, all those in favor, if there's
Aye.
no further discussion?
Aye.
Aye, all right. All right, the next item on the agenda is to point out that Ken and Carol Huser wrote a letter to the Select Board, actually addressed to Town of Plymouth officials, in which they make comments about the public hearing and their impressions of the public hearing and their impressions of the proposal that there be an ATC here generally. And if anybody would like to see that letter, it'll be available in the town office. The next item on our agenda is to Joe Fagnant. He has a purchase order to talk to us about. Hi, Joe.
Hi. So I've got a sinkhole on the corner of Merrill Street and Main Street, South Main.
It's not as big as the one on 93, I hope.
No, but I got a plate sitting over it so people can drive,
Oh.
'cause it's actually in the roadway a fair
Yeah.
amount. And so the college is doing all new drainage along with the steam line to the end of Week Street, which ties into the corner of Merrill. And that whole run is failed. It's got steel pipe and the whole bottom is all rotted out. That street gets heavy salt because of during the winter.
Because of the slope.
So, and it's been in there a long time, so for me to hire somebody to come in and fix just that one section without tying it all in, I'm afraid that once they're done doing Week Street, all that new drainage, when it turns the corner, I'm just begging for a failure. So instead of just doing 40 feet, it's probably a 150-foot run. Just gonna do it all.
So, this is a culvert that goes,
Yes, it's just
where does it run?
it catches all the water, the drainage water that comes down the hill
Under the street,
on Merrill Street.
underneath Merrill
It-
Street.
Yep, and it comes down and it hits the basin right on Main Street.
Oh, I
So
see.
it ties in on Main Street. So,
So, you've got, I see here, you got 250 feet of culvert, right?
yeah.
70 feet of some other culvert.
Well, because the college stopped short of turning the corner on,
Mm-hmm.
there used to be a big vault there.
Yeah.
And it's abandoned, so,
Yeah,
the old line went to the outside and around it. So when they were doing Week Street, I told them, get that vault out of there. If it's abandoned, get rid of it. So
Mhm.
I was that fortunate that they did do that.
So I gather this is unanticipated by you.
It is unanticipated, but it's a good share of my road construction money. But if I hire a contractor to come in and do that one section and then they tie in that run,
You're gonna have more problems later, you
I
figure.
think it's money well spent because
Yeah.
it cost me more to have them come back a second time.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, any questions? Paul?
What has to go wrong with that is to waive the bid process
Oh,
of
okay.
emergency repair.
Well, what happened is I've talked to several contractors and almost all of them are too busy right now. They have a full plate. And then some of them just can't do it, period. So, the gentleman is actually wants to do it for me. He's scheduled to do work for me, some other culverts, so he's just gonna do that first.
Okay.
And that's the only way that I actually got someone in here this quick,
Yeah, that's Dana White.
so.
All right, so I think unless there are other questions, I think we need a motion to waive the bid proposal and approve Joe's purchase order for $35,940 to repair, oh, let me just finish the sentence, to repair the culverts under Merrill Street. Yep.
I'm just wondering if this is gonna interfere with moving weekends for the college, if it's under construction at that point.
Today he scheduled a couple days out, but he told me today that by the time he gets everything moved, and it probably won't be till Monday. So, yeah, it definitely will have an impact, but there's enough you can go around, like, there's several other routes. So that's a 2-day process, that project. So, that's the only window I have is.
So what days do you think he'll get it done? Do you know
Well,
yet?
he's said tentatively, probably next Monday, and then just be a couple days to get it done, so.
So that's
After moving weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's after the move.
so you're gonna keep that steel
Monday,
plate.
a
Correct,
holiday?
it won't interfere with the
Well,
movement.
it's, I
but-
don't know if everyone
That was-
honors it though,
Thanks.
on that day.
So the answer is, I guess it's after move-in day, not
Okay.
before. All right, do we have,
I move that we approve this proposal
all right, and waive the bid process?
and waive the bid process.
Do we have a second?
Second.
By John, or motion by Neil, second by John, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Joe. We'll sign on the tiny little line here.
The 3-line one? Oh,
No, it was made into a 5-line one. Neil.
It's quieter than usual.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Paul.
request to switch committee reports with
Oh.
no other business.
Yes. I sometimes skip over that too, don't I?
Yeah.
That's why I said switch.
All right, let's switch it. You're being so kind to me. Okay, all right, the next item on our agenda, if we switch committee reports with new/other business, is Bill Sweeney to discuss Mid-State Health regarding the denial of an exemption application. And I'm guessing that's you, Mr. Sweeney.
No, actually,
Oh, you're not?
that's Bill Sweeney. My name is Kevin Baum. I'm an attorney representing
Okay.
Mid-State. So
Who's Bill Sweeney? Oh, okay.
Bill made the arrangements.
Oh, all right.
He made the request.
And your name again, I'm sorry.
Kevin Baum, B-A-U-M.
Hi, Kevin, nice to meet you.
And that-
If you'd like, yeah.
Yes,
sit here.
be happy to. That leads me in, which was my intro, which is, with me tonight is Bill Sweeney. Sharon Bay, who is the executive director of Mid-State Health and Mid-State Community Development, and Bob McLeod, who is now the president of the board. I know there are a number of other folks from the organization that are here as well. Basically, the reason we asked to come here tonight is we're looking for two things. One is, although the organization has not received a formal denial of its application for a charitable property tax exemption, we received a verbal statement that the application would be denied So we're looking for a reason for the denial, if in fact that's occurred, and just to make ourselves available to answer any questions that the board has. I am happy to give a little bit of background on what's happened so far. I also have some materials for you. Some of these I expect you already have, but I always love paperwork. So
That's fine.
it's an informational pamphlet including the annual report, a letter that I sent to Gary LaFournier on July 6th. You should have been copied. A printout from the organization that shows the appropriations since 2006 that the town has made, making charitable donations to the organization. And then a page from both Mid-State Community Development Corporation and Mid-State Health from their articles of agreement, creating organizations that shows their charitable purpose. I will note both organizations have actually changed their names, which is in the materials we've sent you. So you'll see that it's different from what's in there, but those are for Mid-State Health and for the community development. And I apologize, John, I only had 6 copies, but I'd be happy to get it. So as background, on March 4th, the organization filed its application for a charitable exemption, which is well before the deadline. Received no feedback initially, but did receive a tax bill. So Bill called to inquire about the status and received a letter as a follow-up asking for additional information, which we provided. Again, on July 30th, we followed up again asking about the status, and at that point we're told that the application would be denied or was considering denial based on the percentage of free health care provided. So as an initial point, I'd like to note that it's contrary to the criteria set forth in RSA 7223. I should know that offhand, but and it's also, I think, contrary to the facts. Bill can speak to this, but since 2006, the organization's provided over $600,000 in free or reduced health care and over $3 million in charitable care during that time. I think it's also contrary to the town's past actions with respect to Mid-State Health, and most notably I think they've received a charitable appropriation each year, absent maybe 1 year since 2006, which is noted, or since 2008, I'm sorry, which is noted in those materials. So, but to some degree that's a little bit off point, because I think the amount of free care, the amount of charitable care, is not the criteria. I mean, the statute is clear, and the New Hampshire Supreme Court's been clear that generally, to qualify the exemption, the organization has to be established for a charitable purpose, and that's shown in the purpose that I provided in the Articles of Agreement, and administered for that charitable purpose and using the property for that purpose. And all those criteria are met here. The only difference in this case is that there's a little bit of a difference in that Mid-State Health is providing the healthcare services on property that it leases from Mid-State Community Development Corporation, which is another charitable organization, and it is in the materials. I apologize for jumping ahead. Both of which are New Hampshire nonprofits and federally exempt 501c3 organizations. The statute's clear about that as well. It's not a problem that the charitable services are provided via a lease. RSA 7223 Roman VA makes it clear, and that's noted in my letter, that provided that both entities meet the charitable purpose criteria, which in this case they do, that the exemption applies to the lessee as well. Lastly, I would note that these criteria are broad. I mean, it really gets down to whether you're organized for a charitable purpose and you're meeting that charitable purpose on the property. The Supreme Court has said the legislative purpose is to encourage charitable institutions, and it is not to be thwarted by a strained, over-technical, and unnecessarily construction of RSA 7223 and RSA 7223L, which is what defines charitable organization. And that definition is also broad. I mean, it's anything that's for the purpose of relieving poverty, which the organizations do. Promoting health, which is a clear fit in this case. Advancing education, aiding religion, providing governmental or municipal facilities and services, or other purposes that are beneficial to the community. So it's broad. And I don't think there's any question that Mid-State Health is providing these services, promoting health to anyone regardless of cost. That's their mission, and using the entire facility to do so. There's no other leases, there's no other use, there's no gift shops, there's no there is no cafes. It's just for providing the services. So with that, I would actually ask if Bill would be willing to just, and I think unless you'd like him to come up here, just to give a little bit of an overview of how the services are provided in the fee scale.
That's fine, and Bill can sit or stand wherever he'd like.
So for our sliding scale or charity care program, we follow the federal regulations, which requires us to supply reduced or free care to anybody at or below 200% of the federal poverty level. And unfortunately, we had to reduce that a couple of years ago, and we actually had provided up to 275%. But now we do 100% and below is a $10 nominal fee for any of our services, and it scales up in $10 increments for every 20% to up to 200% of federal poverty level. If they have they're eligible even if they have a primary insurance. If they're kind of a working poor, they're eligible to apply. We do require that they supply us with some supporting documentation, tax return and whatnot to qualify for that, and that's basically to support that decision. And should we have the auditors in to question that, we would be able to support that decision.
Okay.
And again, with that, we just want to open it up to any questions you have, but basically we want to make sure you as a board, understand the charitable services that are provided here, and that we can answer any questions you have. And we want to have a better understanding of why, given that and given the town's past appropriations, why the exemption is not being granted now, and you're not finding that there is a sufficient charitable purpose.
Well, for one thing, on the fact that the town has given money to Mid-State before, I don't think that was done after having determined that it was some sort of charitable organization, that it was a 501c3, or that it qualified for any tax exemption. We do that because we certainly recognize that Mid-State contributes to the community. There's no doubt about that. So I personally, I don't think that plays into it at all, the fact that we have made donations to Mid-State in the past. And I think one of the reasons we did is because Mid-State always paid its taxes, and years ago when it was created promised that it would pay taxes, and so we felt like giving something back. And if we've fallen off the last year or two, it's probably because of this issue.
Well, I don't know that you have. There seems to be a recognition, you've just voiced it, of what they provide to the community. There's no question that they are federally exempt. We provided that information. I'd be happy to provide it again.
Yeah, but
We
I also,
provided the 990s. I'm sorry.
lots of people make contributions to the community, and lots of people provide services and don't always get fully compensated. So the issue to me, in some respects, is the extent to which this is a charitable organization. I know if I go in there, I bring my Blue Cross card, and I pay whatever it is they can squeeze out of Blue Cross, you know.
Well, that's
And-
because you're fully insured.
I happen to be, and I think that's true of anyone else that goes in there and is insured. They pay.
Well, that's right. It is not fully charitable care, but there's no requirement that there be. I mean,
So I think it's sort of, it's an issue of degree, because there are a lot of places that are somewhat charitable, not fully charitable, or a little charitable, but not a lot charitable. I mean, I think it's a matter of degree, and it's certainly been an issue across the country, I think, that the whole medical delivery system is changing day by day.
Sure.
And I suspect that there are issues like this in other places. I don't think this is the first place where someone who was providing medical services felt that they should be entitled to a complete tax exemption.
If I may, this is the only, and we were discussing this morning, and this is the only instance in New Hampshire that we know of for this type of healthcare facility to not get a charitable property tax exemption. So it has not been an issue in New Hampshire.
When you say this type of medical facility,
There are 16 federally qualified health centers in the state of New Hampshire, of which Mid-State is one. To my knowledge, none of those 15 have ever paid property tax. They have always had an exemption from property tax. We've been a federally qualified health center now for 2 years. Before that, we were called a look-alike, which meant we met all the federal requirements, but they didn't have grant funding for us. But at this point, we meet all the requirements for a federally qualified health center, which are substantial, I might add, require substantial compliance with charitable mission, policies and procedures around that, which are very carefully stipulated by the feds. And I have not investigated the nation, but in the state of New Hampshire, there is not one who does business like we do who is being taxed on their property.
And if I may, just again, the criteria by statute and that has been set out by the New Hampshire Supreme Court is it's not a matter of degree. I mean, it's broad. It may seem overly broad, but that's what the legislature has chosen to do, and the Supreme Court's supported that. And there are 4 factors. I'm sorry. It's that the institution or organization is established and administered for a charitable purpose. I don't think there's any question of that. It's laid out right in the Articles of Agreement, and we've provided the relevant language. And I'm happy to read through that. I don't want to go through ad nauseum. An obligation exists to perform the organization's stated purpose to the public rather than simply the members of the organization. And again, that gets at like an Appalachian Mountain Club or something where they're only providing services to specific members. That is not the case here. Anyone who's a member of the Plymouth general community may avail itself of these services. That the land is occupied and used directly for the stated charitable purposes, and that's also met. I mean, the purposes are to provide reduced health or free to reduce cost health care to anyone who needs it, and that's what the land is occupied and used for. And that the organization's income and profits are not used for any purpose other than the purpose for which the organization is established. And basically that gets to pecuniary benefit to officers or members, and that's also not the case, and that can't be the case. I mean, the other thing that this mirrors is all the requirements you need to be a federally exempt 501c3 organization, and they are, and they've been maintaining that. So I understand that it's not all free and reduced price, but it doesn't have to be. The charitable purpose is to provide that health care, because otherwise there's no one else in the community that is available to do that.
So you sued us, I think.
I did, not over this particular issue.
Well, it's over the tax
It's
exemption.
over the 2014 tax exemption
Well,
application.
same idea. So and we have John handling that. I'm sort of wondering, this seems a little odd to me that we're having a meeting about it.
Well, there were two separate issues. The reason that we were told, again, we've never received a formal denial for either 2014 or 2015.
Can I just ask that question? Do you know, oh, we have our assessor here. Can you answer, or can you shed a little light on the question about a denial or not a denial?
I think there was a letter and other documents sent with my recommendation to the selectmen, with the selectmen's signatures on it. I assume that constitutes a formal denial.
We never
We've
received
never
that.
received that.
And did make, at least in 2014, made a right to know request asking for everything related to it and didn't receive it. So either that was inadvertently left out, or it certainly never made it into our hands.
Well, we'll look tomorrow, if not tonight, and see where that is.
Well, certainly we've never received anything, well, for either year. So the reason we're here tonight, primarily to understand the reason for the denial, but there is a difference between the two. The 2014 application was a few days late. Our position is that it still should have been granted. It's been the town's practice to grant late applications and even send reminders. But we're not here to talk about that tonight. That's the litigation.
I want to interrupt you again. It's true that the town sends reminders. It sends reminders to people who have never paid taxes, like the churches, for example, which forget. But it doesn't send reminders to everybody that it thinks might be applying for a tax exemption this year for some reason.
I understand that, but
so that's a bit of a stretch, don't you think?
No, it's not, because not only does it send reminders, but the town has often repeatedly accepted late filed application, including in some instances years after the fact. In this case, Mid-State was, I think, maybe 10 days late, in that range.
But what I'm saying is this has never happened with somebody that has not been traditionally exempt.
The reminders, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the answer to that, but and again, I don't want to get into that because that's pending litigation, but I don't think it makes any difference if you accept late.
Pending litigation.
Well, this is not. So that 2015, the 2015 taxes have been filed. Our understanding, although we haven't received any denial, is that the 2014 was denied for lateness, not for another reason that, again, we don't know. Maybe it was. Nothing has ever been put in writing or even told us verbally. 2015, our understanding is it's been denied for certainly was timely. It's been denied for not meeting the requirements for a charitable exemption. So that's what we're here to talk about tonight. I've never received anything. Mid-State's never received anything. So to the extent there is you've decided to deny, we'd like to know a reason. If it's still open, we'd like to provide you the information that you may need to know. This isn't subject to the litigation. That said,
I'm understanding the distinction, such as it is. Yeah, I get it. But do we know do you have any recollection, Kathy, about whether something was sent or not sent to these folks about 2015? That was quite a long passageway. I went through lots of hands. I don't know what this is. Well, I have here a letter to Kevin Baum from John Radigan that says, enclosed is the town's automatic disclosure pursuant to Rule 22.
That doesn't have any.
Mike, if you look at the last page, that was where the selectmen signed off.
All right, so this is a memo, I guess, from you to the Plymouth Selectboard regarding Mid-State, which says, I think it says you recommend that it not be found exempt, and we all checked the yes box and signed it, but this was not, was this sent to these folks?
Would have gone after the select board signed that.
And it would have gone to whom?
It would have gone to it should have gone to Mid-State.
We got the request for more information, the letter to Kevin was.
We've never received it, and I actually, thank you, I haven't, my guess is this is in the mail to me.
That was
because I
quite a
haven't
while
received it.
ago.
Well, that was July 1. This memo was never sent. This is part of a packet that was sent by Attorney Radigan
Right.
as part of the litigation.
Yeah, I think that went out last week.
Yeah,
And-
Niall would have, as soon as the select board signed it.
That was the next day. We sent it out the next day.
This has never been received. I haven't received this. I don't know why I haven't received it
Then
from
it was
August
lost in the
30.
mail. We don't send them out
21.
certified, so then it's lost in the mail.
Well,
All right, well-
it seems strange to me that it's been lost in the mail 2 years in a row, but I guess it's moot. I mean,
There you have it.
It seems a lot of this is really about discussing the litigation, which I agree is a little unusual. Do you have any comment about the promise that was made to pay taxes?
yeah, we do. My understanding is no promise was ever made to pay taxes, and I think
Right.
Can I address
I've got a video that says, where is that?
that there was a promise to pay taxes in perpetuity.
Oh, I don't think, you didn't ask about perpetuity, I just asked about the payment of taxes.
I think I can address that,
Yes, Sharon, please.
if I may. Whenever we were applying to the planning board to get permission to build our building that's now in Plymouth, we applied as a part of a New Markets tax credit funding strategy, and the New Markets tax credits required that because it's economic development money from the federal government. We agreed that as long as we were being financed under that program, we would pay taxes. That was a 7-year note that everybody clearly knew was going to be paid off and refinanced at the end of 7 years. So we were obligated to pay property taxes, which we did for the 7 years that we were under that note. Once that note was paid off and we were refinanced, there was no longer a requirement for us to do that. We did agree to it. We made it clear to the select board that that was the strategy. And yes, we did agree to pay property taxes for the term of that note, which disappeared in 2013.
Patrice?
Mr. Chairman, Patrice Scott, I would just like to add for the edification of the attorney, perhaps, that Sharon, I was a selectman at the time when you came before the Board of Selectmen, and actually reviewed my notes when I heard about this and wrote down twice, at least twice during the hearing before us, a promise to pay taxes. I do not remember, and I do not have any notation as to whether that it was a 7-year or a short term, that it wasn't intended to be continuing. And I'm sure you mentioned that there are 16 federally qualified health centers. I'm sure none of them are in a small town that is already burdened, where 1/3 of our properties are off the tax roll to, state
I
university.
think some of them would beg to differ, Patrice, but I won't
Yeah.
get into that.
But I'm just saying, that was a major consideration, the fact that we have 1/3 of our properties off the tax rolls in this town. When we agreed to support the application that came before the Board of Selectmen, that you agreed that this organization would pay taxes. And that was it was a pilot, use of the term pilot, but I do not have any recollection or notation of it being limited.
Well,
We paid taxes.
let's try to do one at a time. I mean, I don't want to cut anybody off, but just one at a time.
Yeah, well, an agreement that it would pay taxes or the equivalent of taxes. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you,
Well,
Patrice.
I guess my question, I
Are you all set, Sharon? Because,
I mean, I respect that Patrice was certainly there.
Mhm.
I certainly did say we would pay taxes. We had a representative who was the chairman of the corporation, that was the Economic Development Corporation at the time, that presented that. To me, it was clear, but
yes,
I guess my question
Kevin,
is it not a problem? Is it the board's position then that I don't know that there was a promise to pay, certainly not to pay, in perpetuity or beyond the 7 years, but that is binding in perpetuity. I'm not sure how that would be the case.
I guess this is, like I said, this is kind of odd. We're in
Well,
litigation, and if you want to do discovery and ask questions in a formal setting when I can talk to my client and
Sure.
advise my client, I think, and by the same token, I'm not subjecting your client to.
No, I
deposition.
understand. I understand.
And so
And
this is very unusual, I would say.
yeah, no, and I respect that. To be fair, we had not. I don't know why I have not received this. I hadn't received it. I was out last week, so maybe it didn't go. Again, we had our issue was we wanted to understand and have a final say about the 2015 taxes. The litigation is solely for 2014. But, and we've made it clear, and I will make it clear tonight, that we'll amend if denied, we'll play to include 2015, so.
Well, you know it's been denied.
I do now, I do
Right.
now. I hadn't received this before
Right,
tonight.
and there are reasons stated on that.
I understand.
And I request that you not ask questions of my client since we have
Sure.
pending litigation.
No, I understand that. That's fine. Well, then what I would say is, we are here, I mean, I'm still happy to make my clients available for general questions about the organization to the board, but we have nothing, I won't ask anything further, and we have nothing further to present. Okay,
Thank you, Kevin.
thank you.
Nice to meet you. The next item on our agenda is, and tell me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but I've got Balkar Singh regarding Tenny Mountain Country Store. Yeah, if you'd like, you can come right up here and if you'd like, Paul's so kind, he's gonna bring another chair. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
We have a little, this is third person adding a little business in a barbecue, just to be simple, so we got this letter first thing, so. we
Right.
don't know.
Yeah,
So we making this all together, we not having anyone argument, anything, so we have to do it, but how they tell us we keep going, following the rule. Just tell we get this legal letter, why we get this letter? Because this is we making all decision, what you guys please read it. So everyone, so what we write down everything, so what happens.
is this something you wrote?
We write, yeah, what they happen we write, yeah.
Yeah, we not people like that, we do the violation. So Mr. Murphy, we call first because we have to be put the new tanks and everything. So we call in the town hall, so we need permit for that or not. So then he come to the store, he look up for that, he said, we talk to him, so we need permit for that or not. So he said, no, you guys not that if you have for the state permit. And then he said for the building, so that's okay, we agree with that. The guy make a mistake, he start building without.
So he
permit.
told you did need a permit for the building?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
No.
You said, okay, I'm
We
sorry.
call in the office here
Right.
because we have to be start in October 1st. We have to be put the new tank on our store and stuff like that.
Like the
But
gas
we-
tank, you're talking about like a?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all the new things,
Yeah.
because state want to be recommending that.
You're right.
And we have the permit for the state, but we want to be, make sure town want to be, we can have permit
Yeah.
from the town also. So
Mhm.
we call in the office, and Mr. Murphy, he went in the store, and he looked up and he asked also for that building. So.
I'm
we-
sorry, he asked also for
That
the.
is-
Because that the
putting a
shed,
little
he
shed,
making
yeah.
the shed over there for the
Barbecue.
barbecue things.
Mhm.
And he said, so this is, you guys cannot do that without the permit. So we said, okay, we apologize for that, what he did. We come to the office ourselves, and all the employees here, we apologize for that, for everything. They send us notice, but my husband is not here, he's in California. then we
That
receive
time, yeah.
that things. And we explain to them and they agree with that everything. They said, okay, we understand that he's not there, that's why they happen. So we know that you guys and everything, so you guys be okay. And we say to them, whatever you want to be do, so we agree with you. How we do it, so we don't know. If you tell us how far from the here and where we can build, how big shed we can build, so you guys can let us know. We go with you. So we cannot do ourselves. We apologize for that, what that guy built. And they agree with us. They said, okay, we can come to stop by your store. We can tell you where you guys can do. We wait for 1 week. No one show up. Mr. Neil McIver, he knows that everything also. So no one go over there. Then we come back after a week to this office here again. So we said, we waiting for a week. No one here. Or go over there. So please, you guys can tell us what we can do is more further. And then they go over there. They stop by. So then he knows what happened that day. I'm not there.
No, they just tell us about in a chat, so put it right there, chat. So other guy, little, he just be argument all the time, and the people we stop him to not do it. Some other person doing with us in the barbecue.
Is this the guy that was doing the barbecuing?
Yeah. He just built a little shed. We write down everything here how he did it. So he put a little shed unpermanent. So we don't know. I'm in California that time, and my daughter took to see the college in California.
It took a long time to get you to take that building down.
Yeah, but then I get back.
Kind of the issue.
Then I get back. So I told him why. Then Brian Murphy came in. So I talked to him. I said, okay, this building should be taken down. But he come himself in the town. He maybe have some argument with Mr. Paul something. So yeah, because I said sorry, apologize, but he not supposed to argument it.
Can I, Paul?
Yeah, the film in this time frame that seems to be missing on their behalf.
Yeah.
That's when we had the gentleman Scott downstairs acting as if he was in charge, like a foreman type individual.
This is Scott, the barbecue guy?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And we have no way of knowing at the time whether my assistants are handling a foreman,
Yeah.
an employee at the bottom of the ladder, somebody that's misspeaking for the owner. The owner was not here. Scott was coming to the town hall every day, arguing this case. And so that lapse of it, while they were waiting for an answer from us, we thought we were providing an answer.
Right. So this guy is coming in here and giving them a hard time every day for this whole week you're gone.
One time he did,
Mr. Singh.
he
And
did,
you
but
saw him get into an argument with me on your property also.
yeah, no, that we apologize for that him. So we usually he not supposed to talk to you guys at that time. So we should be talking to you.
Let
We
me
did
ask-
talk about how you went.
How long was the building up?
Several weeks.
I sent the initial notice of violation on the 23rd
Of
of
June?
June, thank you. I believe it was up the previous week. I went over and spoke to Scott the day I was informed of it. I believe that was a Monday morning, so it might have been the week of the 23rd. I can't remember that.
So you send the notice of violation June 23rd. When did the building go down? Do you know that?
July 4th, sometime in the afternoon.
So it was, my math isn't all that great, but I'm thinking 7, 8, 9, 11 days, something like that?
Right.
Also, holiday came in 4th July because store is so busy because only holidays come in once a year. So everybody there, we don't want to break it down because he's busy in the food. So we also ran 2 days too. So I come in town, talk to him and Mr. Paul. So he need 4 days. He asked him. So he said, okay, go ahead, you have it.
I did have a police chief present when he was here because of this, and he didn't say he needed 4 days.
Not him.
Excuse me.
He
was
Let
told,
me-
right. He was told to take it down by noontime the next day.
He told that?
Would have been Wednesday. Yes.
But I pushed him very hard on the phone. I said, you have to take it down if they're not allowed. But this holiday came in, so he said, holiday, because this holiday not count and we cannot count.
And Balka, I respect that
Yeah.
and respectfully state, as Balka has things being said to this employee in his world that we don't know about.
Yeah,
We are saying things to Scott that you don't know about.
yeah.
So,
That's right. There's a lot of
On Thursday
misunderstood,
when it
so a
wasn't
lot of
down-
misunderstood. So you please, if you look at that letter we write down, we have also, Mr. Neil have some set of meetings, so he say, okay, no problem, so you can have a little, this chat, so then this way he took a long day, but miscommunication, there should be miscommunication, that's all.
I don't think there was a miscommunication. I think your guy just didn't want to take the thing down. Maybe he wasn't telling
It's
you.
no argument for not, that one, so we not take down.
Here's the thing. We've got an ordinance that says we can fine you some amount of money per day for a violation.
Yeah.
And from the time we told you to take that thing down because you had no permit, you're supposed to know you have to have a permit.
Yeah.
It's not a big secret. There's an ordinance. Everybody knows when you build a building in
Yes.
town, if it's over a certain size, if it has certain characteristics, you have to have a permit. This is not any kind of secret. I don't think it is to you or to anybody else. You had this building built, and then you wouldn't take it down. And these guys spent a lot of time and effort chasing you and that other guy around.
No,
And we don't like to do that.
there that time.
We have limited resources here.
Yeah, I
And we
know.
can't, we can't have people doing this all over town.
No,
So
not
sometimes we have
supposed
to
to
say,
happen.
hey, wait, look.
Yeah.
We're gonna make you pay something so this doesn't happen again. And that's kind of the position
Yeah.
we've taken here. We're gonna charge you one day,
Yeah,
not 10, not 15, or whatever it is, but
Okay.
one.
one day.
Yeah.
No.
And that's kind of,
Excuse me, I just want to be say, we just explained to you and him, then you guys send this notice. He's not here in California,
No.
right?
Yes.
Then when he come back from California, we stop by in office by ourselves. We come here, we talk to a couple ladies, and I talk to you
Yes.
too
Yes.
also. So we say to you, he can give you like a written apologizing letter, and we say to you, apologize from him. He not supposed to be talking like that. Then you go to.
They also
you should
not
have some
supposed to
sense.
brag, yeah.
but then 2 hours later, Scott came to the town hall
Or
and
he
started,
came after us?
yes.
He not supposed
And
to.
it's not my job
Yeah.
to discipline your employee, and he
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
But he was told, no, it comes down at noontime tomorrow. I guess he did not pass it on to, look, you told him to take it down,
Yes,
did you not?
Yeah.
yes, we did.
I did.
We told him to take it
No,
down.
we push him very hard.
But you're his boss,
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
So we switched it from, that's when I asked you to come back,
Yeah,
that we would no longer deal with Scott, we would only deal with
Yeah.
you
yeah,
in the absence of your husband.
yeah.
But he was told by you to take it down. He was told by the town to take it down. It still didn't come down until 4th of July.
Yeah.
You were back by then.
Yes,
Yes.
because it's a holiday came in, so we said holy 4th of July came in, so this will be.
Yes.
The week of the July 4th, and I believe it was the end of, 29th, 28th, I wrote a second notice of violation because there was no action up there. I hand-delivered it to Mr. Singh
Yeah.
with Kate Lowe, and I said, it was a problem. Mr. Singh explained to me that he had been out of town. And I said, fine. I said, the bottom line is the building has to come down by tomorrow. That would have been Wednesday of that final week of June. Mr. Singh said yes, and I figured that was enough at that point. I also said I would put this building in violation placard on if it wasn't down by noon on Thursday. The Wednesday, you lost because of rain, so I was prepared to just delay everything by one day. Accordingly, I got a call Friday morning, so Thursday it should have been the day of work. Friday I got a call that the structure was still there in full operation. I went out and I spoke to Mr. Singh and Scott at the same time, and I said, this has to be down today. And they both agreed verbally that it had to be down that day. I told them that I would be monitoring it in spite of the fact that it was a town holiday. I took time-dated photographs of everything throughout the day. I went back at intervals. Nothing had happened. I was there at 9 minutes after midnight on July 4th, and the structure was still up. I went by first thing in the morning Saturday, and by first thing I meant before 9 o'clock, the structure was still up. At that point, I was done with it. I happened to pass by later that afternoon on the way towards Newfound Lake and saw that the structure was down. So sometime during the day, it was finally completely taken down. So that's the only thing I wanted to add with this, except for one other factor. I never got the message about the gas tanks. We spoke to that face to face.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clear that up, because the only reason I went to the store after you had done the building and the apartments was to talk about the barbecue.
Yeah.
And then that came up in the course of conversation, so just for clarity.
Paul, yes.
And the other missing week, which is why I'm saying there's 3 weeks here, was Bike Week. When Scott was approached every day of Bike Week and was told to take it down. But it was obvious that Scott wanted to use Bike Week to sell the product. And every day he would not, you were absent, you were in California, Bike Week. But every day he was told to shut it down. And not only would he not take the building down, he never shut the operation down. He was determined to sell all through Bike Week. Then he was determined to sell all the way through the 4th of July.
But he did not use the building. Because he cook outside just a machine, barbecue machine, but he didn't use anything in the building. The building just been empty. Because you see anything in the building?
After, the grill was inside the building.
Just for the rain, he put in it before. He not cooking anything.
Doesn't matter, it's still, the building's there, the building's there.
Yeah, building, we said that because he not supposed to build anything without, he not asking me permission either. So he just go and get stop and stop. My wife called me, she said, what is the Scott doing? I called him, he said, oh yeah, this they allowed to 10 by 10 something. This no problem, you put on the top and the building. So I don't know much law. I say, make sure you go in the town hall and find out first and get the list they give you information, you allowed to or not allowed to. That's the only miscommunication.
So you want...
anything we do, any shed we put, anything
said
we
you
do,
want
first come to the town hall, ask them, so what we have to do
Sounds
this.
like he's got it right.
Huh?
Well, I was trying to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I just like to be, because talk to you also and stuff, so he said, you want to add up anything?
I'm a customer.
Yeah.
And I like to do business there, and I was approached by Scott, and he told me that the town compliance officer was abusive to him, and he wanted to explain what was going on, and I told him that the building was not in compliance, and it was going to have to be taken down, and that it had to. There was an exemption for a shed that was 100 square feet that could be built without a permit. And I told him that he had to go to see Paul or Kathy or the town planner. And I was given the impression that he couldn't work with the town compliance officer.
Did he expand on that, Mr. Selectman? Did he
went
qualify what abusive meant?
He used quite a lot of verbal description. And,
you're talking about my reputation, sir.
I'm not.
Please be clear.
Going to degrade you. I felt that I was misinformed. I had no idea what was going on. And I certainly did not want to in any way criticize the compliance officer, because I didn't know what happened. But I wanted him to go to town hall.
And talk to anybody but me, sir?
I wanted him to see Paul.
Why wouldn't he come to me, sir?
Because the things he said to me were to the effect that he could not work with you, and
that means
that was.
Well,
I'm not criticizing you,
Brian. I think it happens sometimes that somebody does not get along with a particular person and goes to see somebody else. I wouldn't read too much into it. And the other thing, of course, is he was there, whatever he said to Neil, he was trying to make a case for himself, keeping
I
that thing up
understand
forever.
that.
So we don't know that what he said
I was just
really-
wondering what amount of credence was given to this gentleman in my absence, sir.
Well, it sounds like overall not very much. You know, and I'm not just talking about what Neil's thing was, but I mean, from the town in general, he's been perceived as uncooperative and difficult to deal with, as far as I can tell. I mean, I think even the Singhs
Yes, yes.
would agree with us
So
about that at this
not
point.
long with go with him, so we have no any issue, any officer, any person, we have it.
So here, I don't think we're gonna change our mind about this, though. We issued this order imposing something of a fine, and unless somebody wants to change it, which of course we can do if somebody wants to make a motion or something, but I'm not inclined to do that. And you've got, you know, some exposure to more than that in court if we don't settle this, so, I think that's where we are here.
You know, we just be request because we are here from like, we never want to do anything bad, and you guys cannot do this first time, you guys cannot deny this.
We've been in
Investors
here
will help us.
11
We never
years,
do-
so
we never-
everything we paying
you
in
guys
smart,
know
no,
us.
hold on. We took over this store in 2005. 4 years we bring money from other store to put here, still paying tax and whatever, 11,000 a year. We not make any money first 4 years, we keep going, so then since we moved in 4 or 5 years ago, then we build the apartment, we live here, so we work self and then we start making the money. We never behind to pay the tax and property tax, and never a violation in it before. Because this guy coming aside, so we add some business, we ask if we can do that. People lack food, local people love that his food. We just add a little business, but this only his mistake is he did himself. So this because we not argument with them, so we have to keep. If he did it, but we honor. We never argument with them. Any person can say we argument with them, so we can know. We know law. We know this. We know this. We have to have this building. We never said that. We say okay, I'm apologize. So whatever happened, we take it down.
Is Scott gone? Is he gone?
No, he's cooking food inside. Health department said you can cook, no problems, but he not cooking the building, no building there. Because if we take him out, he closed in one day, second day people complaining, where he go? We lack food. People come buy food. We're selling $600 food every day. Because we want food or no? We want more people inside in the store or no? We want business or no? We want to pay tax or no? We pay $800 in a state room and music tax. Usually we pay $200, $600 extra. We can show you in an invoice. We pay $600 extra to state room and music tax.
I think you've had your say. And maybe we'll discuss it after this is over.
Yeah.
But
we never violation in before. We careful after that again. So we always come to town, asking her what we have to do. We want to do this. What we have to do. We apply permit, whatever need. But this happen because this guy just maybe his mind is different. He just go and he look on the internet. Oh, this no problem. He built and merit it.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah. He built in the same building in Meredith. He said inspector came in, no problem, still building there. Because different town, I said you cannot compare Plymouth to other town. Every town have different rule.
Right.
You have to follow them. Not I say Concord is this rule and Plymouth is this rule. We have to follow where we live.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to follow the rule where we live. Yeah.
It's nice to meet you folks.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank you very
coming
much.
in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Make sure you think about it. So we help them out in Plymouth town since we been. So how much we can give them 2 employees in a full-time job in since we been. So this is the only you can do for town. Pay the tax and property tax on time. No complaint. Getting a state more tax if we sell more food. What we can do?
Okay.
We can do anything else for that?
No, that's about it, I guess. That's right. Thank you.
Whatever happened, we apologize for that. But he make a mistake. We said that before everyone. We come in a town. We said to Paul. We said to Brand. What he argument with you? We apologize for that. He cannot talk to you guys anymore. We
Yep,
can
okay.
talk with you guys, you know?
Yeah, that's why we not bring him with us. We said, no, we can go ourselves. So,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that probably wasn't gonna help.
Sometimes, the people are understanding, so they not go along with someone, that's just them problem, but we are good with everyone. So,
Yeah.
if we don't know anything, we always come in the office, we always call, so we try to figure out how we do it. So
Yeah.
ask our friends.
That's the way to
They
work.
knows, everyone knows us, so we don't want to do anything bad.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for
Thank
having
you.
me. Everyone, yeah?
Good night, folks.
All right, Paul.
Thank you.
All good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have not much knowledge to talk about this, but whatever we said, we
Thank you.
said the truth, so you had to see it.
All right.
Yeah, so,
All right, Brian. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
So long.
Have a good night.
All right. So I guess we get back to our agenda here. And I think what we did was we skipped over committee reports. This will be relatively quick. Does anybody have anything? We've been here every Monday for 4 weeks now, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I got a,
School board's not.
You got
meeting.
anything?
No.
yeah, somebody want to go first?
I
No?
don't have anything.
I do not. I'm sorry.
It's just you, Neil.
Well, the Water and Sewer Department had a meeting last August 18th, and the Conservation Commission was supposed to have a meeting on the 18th, and I went to the Conservation Commission meeting, and they didn't have the meeting because they didn't have quorum, because everybody's on vacation, I guess. So I missed the Water and Sewer meeting, but I have the minutes of the meeting. And one of the items that they discussed a developer who had requested that they get the water and sewer approval simultaneously with the planning board. But the Water and Sewer Commission is hesitant to do that because it may conflict with the action of the planning board. And so they're going to have Marilise do a little consulting with other water and sewer departments in other towns. And they're still working on Fairgrounds Road, and I guess they have some other equipment that they've been replacing, you know, pipes and valves and
Stuff like
problems
that.
they have problems with. Yeah,
Okay. Is that it?
that's it. I'll give this to Kathy if she wants it.
So I think, do we,
Yeah,
we still have non-public?
Yeah.
Paul, we have a non, I'd entertain a motion to go into a non-public session
So moved.
Second.
by Bill, second by Neil. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're in non-public.